How are you doing today, Greg?
Hey, doing great.
Excellent. It's starting to feel a little more seasonal out there.
Got some frost.
Yeah,
At
we
least
did.
there's a frost warning, and man, I tell you, people, when there's a frost warning, you heed that.
Yeah.
I always think like, that'll go somewhere else, because it never says like, there will be frost tonight. Everyone will get frost.
Yeah.
The frost warning is never like that. It says risk of frost in low-lying areas.
Yeah, exactly.
What's a low-lying area? 'Cause I'm not in a high. I'm like 200 meters above sea level here. For Americans, that's like 600 feet or something. So I don't consider this low-lying. I mean, it's low-lying compared to, Manitoba.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
someplace in Utah or whatever, someplace inland like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're saying low-lying levels. They're referring to where I live.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
the low-lying area, in Nova Scotia, the low-lying area is the ocean. It's the lowest.
That is true.
It's at sea level.
Yeah.
That's the low-lying. So relative to that, I'm not low-lying.
No.
Not only that, but my garden is not. It's on a plateau, I guess. Like there's a high point, and then it's halfway down a hill. So it's not even. If you read about permaculture, they say that it's good to have that sort of thing because mist it'll just keep rolling down. So
Right.
Downhill of where my garden plateau is, there's a swamp, and that's the low-lying area. There's a low-lying area about 20 feet lower
Yeah.
than my swamp or than my garden. So anyway, I got frost. You could tell some of the squash plants, the leaves had that burnt look. And I mean, the one thing I did do is I just knocked all my tomatoes are on a trellis, and they're on stakes.
Right.
And I knocked it. It's one quick and dirty thing you can do is I knocked them down and put them on the ground. Because if there is a tiny bit of frost, it'll hurt things that are high up way more than things that are on the ground. And it'll also so all my tomatoes were okay because I put them all on the ground, and I put some dead stuff over one of the groups.
Right.
And I got some other tomatoes that they're underneath a tree, believe it or not, and they didn't get it because the tree protected them or something. They're underneath a maple tree. It's a weird spot, but tomatoes actually. My kids it's a little kid garden, and I put these tomatoes in just to see if they grew, and they grew really nice.
Nice.
Anyway, so I did get a bit of frost, but I should have taken an extra 2 minutes and more diligently protected my plants, but I didn't. Oh well, I should have picked all my basil, that's for sure, because basil can't take. It's almost hopeless growing it where I am here. It's such a hard thing to grow here. Anyway, the other thing I did is for anyone. This is a funny sort of thing. I have a barber, and the barber she renovated her barbershop, and she had 3 grapefruit trees, and that's the second or third barber I've had in my life. And I'm speaking to like different provinces where I've lived,
Right.
that have had citrus trees growing in their in their barbershop. It's really strange. I don't know if it's a barber thing, and they're not even similar barbers. Like I had a barber, like an Italian barber when I lived in Ontario for 6 years. And he had a lime tree or a lemon tree or something like that growing in his barbershop. But this lady is not Italian by any stretch. But anyway, she was renovating the place, and she said, "Oh, I need a good home for these, and I know you like growing stuff, so why don't you take one of my they're grapefruit trees." So I said, "Okay, that'd be a cool thing to have in the house." Well, they're not.
They're not.
It's like someone saying, "I've got a bull mastiff. He's a wonderful dog. Would you like to take his grapefruit tree?" Yeah, I mean, a grapefruit tree, it needs, if there's one place in your house that gets decent sun, it's got to be there, or it suffers.
Yeah.
But not only that, and I didn't even know this, but grapefruit trees have these 2-inch thorns all over them.
Oh, kind of like, yeah, I've seen some big
They're
bushes
like,
or hawthorn bush.
yeah, like if you go fishing sometimes
Yeah.
along river banks, there's these. I mean, these if you ran through one of them, you'd probably die.
Yeah.
They're
I think I've heard them. They're hawthorn bushes.
the
Hawthorn.
skin would come off. It's
Yeah.
like a hawthorn, very similar.
Yeah.
So it's got all these, and it turns out that the only place that this plant, because my house, just the way I'm an outdoor gardener, not an indoor gardener. This house is terrible for sunlight. There's only one. There's one place in the house where there's an east-facing window adjacent to a south-facing window. There's only one south-facing window in the whole house. So that's where the grapefruit tree has to go. It's right next to our garbage can in our kitchen. You know, the kind you put your foot on. So every time, yeah. So you know what a garbage can is. So I mean, it's a kitchen garden can. So it's that kind where you press it down with your foot.
Yeah.
Anyway, so every time you go to put something in the garden, you get like thorns in your face.
Lovely.
Stupid tree. So she entrusted me with the life of this tree. So I've cared for it. It did well. And then I got this crazy idea this year. I've had this tree for a couple of years now. And I had this idea this summer. It's like, I'm going to put it outside on the deck. And it'll get full sun. And maybe, it'll flower. Maybe something will happen this summer, right?
Yeah.
So I put it out on my deck in July.
Yeah.
And I hardened it off, like I had it sort of protected a bit.
Yeah.
Or June, or whenever it was,
Nice enough.
Consistently 10 degrees, 10 degrees at night, and temperatures that a citrus plant can take. And it just died. It's still alive, but it looks like someone beat the hell out of it.
Oh.
It looks terrible.
Yeah.
And it's still alive, but I don't even. I'm ashamed to bring it back into the house.
Chip it up. Put it in a wood chipper.
So for anyone thinking that doing that, who has a citrus plant, maybe no one's crazy. Maybe that was a really dumb thing to do. I'm an experimental type, so it's like, hey, this, it's going to get more sun. Yeah. It's going to be nice, and it's going to be like Florida outside.
It's going to grow grapefruits.
That grapefruit tree is an indoor cat.
Yeah.
And what happens to an indoor cat when you put it outdoors? All the cats on the street beat the tar out of it.
Yeah, that's true.
It comes home with me. I'm missing an eye.
Yeah.
And possibly pregnant.
Yes.
So, if you don't put your citrus outside, if you live in Canada, and maybe in southern Ontario that might work, because there's a couple places it gets really hot, but certainly you're out this way, forget it, man.
Good chat.
Yeah, that plant is destroyed. Okay, moving on, because that's not the topic of today's.
You've done well.
Dave and I agreed not to do this before we get into the content today, and I did it anyway.
And he did it anyway.
It's the constant stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
Anyway, today, what are we going to talk about today? Today, we're going to talk about, we're going to do another episode on mulches, but from a different angle. So it's fall, and for me, it's time to do a lot of prep work in my garden. I prefer to do a lot of that stuff in the fall as opposed to messing around with it in the spring. It's just a great time to work in your garden in the fall. It's cool, and there's no mosquitoes, there's no horse flies, there's no black flies. It's still reasonably warm, so your fingers don't freeze. It's just a wonderful time to be out in the garden. And something about fall air. I love fall air.
Yeah, I love it.
It's I don't know what it is. Like fall to me is like the new year. It's because of, fall is when you start a new, when you're growing up, it's a new year in school. So maybe this year I'll be cool because I wasn't cool last. You just don't know I got a new jean jacket. I mean, back in those days, jean jackets made you cool. But fall was always this time of like a new, it's really like from the season point of view, it's an ending. But and I spent years in school because I spent a good 10 years in university in addition to all that. So a fall always has this like, okay, this year I'm gonna do great things. So fall is my January 1st. Emotionally, fall is when I say, okay, this year's going to be great. Whatever everybody goes through in January, I go through in the fall.
Yeah.
So, and it's great when you have a garden because you're like, okay, next year's garden is going to be amazing, right? I'm going to do all this great stuff.
Right.
So one of the things you do in the fall, or one of the things I do in the fall, is I add manure to my gardens, and I also add mulches. So today we're going to talk about mulches. We probably should have done manure first and then went on mulches, but that's prepared to talk about mulches today. So what's the point I want to get at? If you read literature on mulches, they'll say use anything. Just use whatever you can get, which I would say that's good advice, generally speaking. But if you find something works better than other things,
go with that.
Use it. And it may be that what I'm suggesting here isn't going to help you. I mean, everybody's soil is different. I mean, but I have read in the literature that, especially if you've watched films like the Back to Eden film, they're always talking about wood chips, ramial wood chips, so branches and leaves and stuff like that, not wood chips that are from logs or the main, but it's from the branches. So there's a lot of green, a lot of leaves and a lot of green in there. There's a lot more sap and just more nutrient and energy in there. Because most of the tree, the trunk of a tree it's almost all carbon, right? Right. But the branches, they've got a lot more nitrogen because there's more bark per wood and there's more leaves and all that sort of stuff. So that product or that kind of mulch is spoken about with reverence. And so when I first got into doing this, I had a preference for that, and I put it all over my gardens. And, I got to say, I have not had the best results with it relative to other things. I have found that when I use wood chips, ramial wood chips, so branches and leaves have been chipped up in a chipper, I get them from a tree service. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if someone might say, well, you got to use this tree or that. And these are from all different kinds of trees. I've alder, maple tree. I've tried pine and needles and spruce and different things. If the soil underneath the wood chips is amazing soil, and the wood chips do a fine job because they keep the soil moist, and the soil is already good, right? So they won't deplete a soil, but they'll do a pretty good job maintaining an excellent soil. Right. But if your soil is not excellent, let's say your soil is still developing and it isn't as rich as it could be, I don't know that wood chips will get you there quickly. I'm confident that they'll get you there in the long run. If you had really, really poor soil and you put 8 or 9 inches of wood chips on and left it for 5 or 6 years, I'm sure the soil would benefit from that. But when you're a gardener, you want it to be good now, right? Or you want it to be next year sort of thing. So you want a mulch that's going to, let's say you put your mulch on in the fall, you want it to do a bit of decomposing in the fall. Yeah. And, once everything freezes, nothing's decomposing once this first foot, soil freezes down a foot deep. But you want something to happen, right? And then next spring, you want it to get back to business, right? You want it to heat up and decomposing quickly. I don't find wood chips do that. I think they only seem to break down in the warmer summer months. And I think that's why a lot of the literature that you read online, it's all coming from warmer parts of the world. They're touting wood chips because it's just warmer for longer there. Perhaps they break down better there, so they benefit the soil better there. But if you've got a soil that you're trying to bring up to some optimum level, I have found that other things tend to do better. I'm speaking specifically about hay and seaweed in particular. Right. Leaves are quite good too, but I found leaves tend to harbor slugs like you would. I don't know why. I don't know why leaves would harbor more slugs than seaweed. Yeah. Or hay. Perhaps it's easier for them to hide in it. Maybe it's easier for birds to root through hay and seaweed. I don't know. That would be my best guess, because birds will, go at. Slugs, birds love slugs.
Oh yeah.
I have found that the garden, like, for instance, in my this will give you a sense of the rate these things break down. So the gardens in my backyard, where I've put a foot of hay last, let's say, I put some new ones in last year, and I built them around June, and I put a foot of hay, and the hay is almost all gone. It's down to like an inch or 2 inches.
Right.
And it's not like it's compacted. It just broke down.
Yeah.
So all of that, I got a foot of hay and now I got a couple inches. So a good deal of that matter, let's say 60, 70% of that matter is now soil matter.
Right.
So that's a mulch that feeds your soil, right? That hay literally got broken down by organisms. I mean, hay doesn't break down on it's not like the hay breaks down on its own.
Right.
Those are organisms eating it and pooping it, and making it into excellent soil.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess the grass breaks down quite quickly too if you go over with your mower.
Yep.
But I mean, generally speaking, if you're mowing your lawn, you should use a mulching blade and leave that grass on your lawn, and then you won't have to fertilize it quite so much. But if you have a neighbor that likes to fertilize the heck out of his or her lawn, and they leave all their grass on the side of the road, I mean, that's free. That's free stuff. Take it.
Yeah.
And that's the advantage of leaves is that they're so easy to source this time of year. People just throw them away, and especially now, I don't know what your rules are in Bridgewater where you live, but the rules here where I live, you're only allowed to throw them out in those brown paper bags now.
Yeah, I think that's the way down here too.
Those bags are completely like 100% compostable.
Yeah. And
they're great for dealing with any sort of weed problem you have. You just literally like cut the bag up and throw the leaves on top of the bag, and the weeds disappear. I got a couple of videos on YouTube where I show I've done this with gout weed, which is a horrible invasive weed. I'm actually going to do a follow-up on that quite soon because it seems to have worked quite well. Anyway, so leaves are very good for your soil, and they break down quickly. It's good to get ones that have been run over by a mower by someone, but they do carry the risk of harboring slugs. So if you're going to use leaves, then you should buy some sort of slug bait, or do some research and learn about different kinds of slug trap, beer traps, and all these other kind of slug traps that you can use.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's leaves, hay, and I say hay instead of straw because hay is usually free, whereas straw usually costs money. Not only that, but hay has more nutrients in it. Hay is the part that horses eat, right? Straw it's funny because hay is the part of the grass that has value, right?
Yeah.
When they have a field and they're growing it for feed for livestock, the hay is the part that they sell to farmers. The straw is what's left over.
Yeah,
because the animals don't eat, cows and horses and stuff don't eat straw, right? It's lesser value, and they don't eat it. And because they don't eat it, I mean, it has less nutrients in it. There's nothing in. They don't eat it because there's nothing in there for them.
Yeah.
Like they'd starve to death if they ate it because the seeds are in the straw. The greener, it's just more nutrient value. So the hay is going to feed your soil more because there's more nutrients in it. Now it's got some weed seeds in it and that sort of thing. That's a bit of a problem, but if you're lucky, maybe there's some sparrows or something that'll come and root through that and pick a lot of your seeds out, but they never get them all. I mean, if you use straw, you're going to get a few weeds, but it's to me not too bad. It's surprisingly, it's not as bad as you might think. So that's the advantage of getting straw. You can go to a horse stable or any sort of farm around you if you just look around, and if they have livestock that they feed hay to, sometimes there's hay they buy that the animals just won't eat it. They don't like it. Something wrong with it, funny taste, and they just throw it away. They throw it on the manure pile. So that hay won't be in a bundle. It's usually just thrown there. But you just bring a container or bring one of those empty leaf bags or, or even a tarp that you can sort of bundle up a bit. But if you're ingratiate yourself to a stable owner, you can usually source hay for next to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes gardeners will come to their stable looking for manure, but almost no one ever comes looking for straw.
Yeah.
Because there's this belief, don't use straw, or don't use hay, it's got weeds in it.
Right.
So everybody will go to a farm store and buy straw when it's not cheap. It's maybe $20 for a bale or something like that. Whereas the hay has more nutrients and it's free. Although it does have more weeds than straw.
Mm.
But another thing you can use, alluded to before, is seaweed. Seaweed's a great one. I mean, you can go down to the beach and you get it off the high tide mark. Check your local laws, of course.
Yeah.
And this only works for people that are in the Maritimes, of course. But that stuff is basically weed free. It does break down. You have to reapply it every year. It gets ridiculously hot. The other advantage, if you're a northern gardener, is that the seaweed or kelp or whatever you want to call it, it's dark in color. So whereas straw is light in color, so it doesn't attract a lot of heat to itself, although it does heat up, just on it. It's bioactive. The seaweed is dark. So if you have seaweed mulch on your garden and you go out on a day in April where even if it was 0 degrees Celsius at night, if it's let's say it's a day where it's sunny and maybe it's getting up to 10 degrees Celsius, put your hand on the seaweed, it'll be warm. It's really neat. And it's breaking down. Like if you put your hand in it, there's all this mushy brown stuff all over your hands.
Right.
So it's turning into mush, right?
Cool.
But that means it's turning into stuff that your plants can use and stuff that the organisms in the soil will benefit by.
Yeah.
So straw and seaweed are, I would say, really good. Also, even better than wood chips in a lot of ways is rotten logs. Mm-hmm. That's another. I mean, it's a little more labor intensive, and it's only an option if you live near the woods. I live right on a forest, so I can just go drag logs out of the woods whenever I want. Mm-hmm. I've got a piece of land, but also maybe you've got a neighbor that has some rotten stuff they put out on the garbage day or whatever.
Yeah.
But when I say a rotten log, I mean a rotten log that if you start kicking it, it just turns into
it falls apart.
Pieces of stuff.
Yeah.
Those can be really good mulch because they're rotting, because they've been sitting on the ground rotting for years, sometimes maybe more than decades, right? Depending on what kind of log it is. So if it's really rotten like that, it's got a lot more nitrogen than wood would normally do. Wood needs to take up nitrogen to break down. So if it's a rotten log, it's already taken up nitrogen. It has to take up nitrogen to rot, to break down. So it's charged up a bit. I've used it. I haven't used it for a number of years now, but I have used it because, to cover a 4x10 garden, you have to get basically a tree. You got to find almost like an entire tree, something like half the size of a telephone pole. Right. Smash that all up. So it's good if you've got some aggression you got to work out or some issues. You got some anger. But if you don't have a large garden or you just want to do something different or whatever, it also looks really cool. And also that if you use a rotten log as a mulch, you'll get all kinds of crazy mushrooms in your garden. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about. I've got a lot of mushrooms growing all over my garden right now, and I don't know which ones are good or bad. So I just have to watch them all.
Stay away. Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to watch them all go to nothing. But I could fill a tub.
Oh yeah.
The mushrooms I have right now.
Yeah.
If only I knew which ones were good.
Edible.
If anyone out there listening is in my area knows where you could go to take a class on mushrooms, there's very few things I would pay for. I would pay for that, to go in the woods with someone that knows something about that.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Imagine just being able to just take a walk and come home with a bag of mushrooms.
Oh man, the place that my wife and I go hiking, I mean, they're just hundreds of different kinds.
This time of year especially.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, no, that would be a huge advantage to be able to do that. I mean, they're good for you, but also just, I'm a bit of a cheapskate. It's like
Yes,
just see
just a
like
bit.
just all this free food all over the place, and I don't know which one's good and which one will kill
Will
me.
kill me. Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't risked it.
Well, the cost
Is dearly. Yeah,
sometimes it's not like, well, I'll just get a little bit sick.
yeah,
It's a dichotomy. It's like
yeah,
0, 1, dead
yeah,
or alive.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't
No,
mess with.
very good.
Anyway, so that's just a few thoughts on different mulches. If you're thinking about that, or you've been reading about it, or whatever, my experience is that hay, seaweed, and leaves, they're the cheapest,
Hmm.
and in a lot of ways, they're the best.
Yeah.
Because I mean, wood chips, it's really hard to get those for free. They do work. Don't get me wrong. Wood chips do work, and I've got guards with wood chips. But um, I think hay's better. I mean, at least
Yeah.
if you're living in a cold place, like the wood chips work. But I'm getting better results. I have to say, I'm getting better results with hay, and I'm getting better results with seaweed where I am.
Yeah.
And I think it's got something to do with temperature.
Right.
And and this isn't like a one-off. I've been gardening after this fashion for. But I switched to being a wood chip, no-till, permaculture gardener around 2012, 2013. Well, no.
Yeah.
I bought this house in 2011, and the next year I started making all these changes. So I've been doing this for a number. I've been a gardener for years, but I've switched to being gardening with this system just maybe 5 years ago. But I mean, after watching the Back to Eden film, I was very keen to use wood chips because the guy in the film says they're the best, but he lives in Zone 8. He lives in a place that's way. He's going into his garden in the winter and harvesting cilantro and stuff like that. So he says that's cold.
Yeah.
And red Russian kale, he's harvesting that in the winter. Whereas here, it just turns to ice.
There's no harvesting.
It's over, man. I mean, maybe if you've got some sort of elaborate cold frame, but I mean, just going out. He said, "Oh, I just plant them under my apple trees," and that doesn't work here, man.
Yeah.
So maybe I think there might be something to do with the heat and wood chips. So if you're in a hotter place, maybe they're more beneficial for their soil. I don't know. But I mean, if you've got really, really excellent soil, like I said before, I go use the wood chips. It's more like if you're going to put them on your soil, if you put 4 inches of wood chips down, and you think next year you're going to have 8-foot tall tomato plants. If your soil was marginal to start with, it's going to be slightly less marginal next year. Slightly better. Only slightly better. And I know that because in parts of my garden, and this will be the final thing I'll say, in parts of my garden where I just put wood chips down, so I didn't put any manure or anything. I'm talking about the walking paths. So the walking paths, I literally did what the guy in the film says. Paul Gauchi's his name. You just put paper down and put wood chips down, because my walking paths, I just want to suppress weeds. So you put the paper down and then you put the wood chips down to hold the paper in place, and it looks nicer than having cardboard everywhere. Also, cardboard gets slimy when it's wet. So in some of those areas, every year I've tried tucking seeds into the soil and to see if what kind of growth I get. And every year in different areas I've tried this in my garden, just in that existing poor clay soil. And I've always planted beans because they're just about the easiest thing there is to grow. And this is the first year I had beans grow out of it. So it took like 4 years for that soil to be improved by the wood chips. Yeah. Whereas, that if you saw that Ruth Stout video I did, I just I took a weed bed growing into the same soil, put manure down, put potatoes in it, put about a foot of hay, and had a huge potato garden.
Yeah.
Each one, right? So wood chips work, but they don't work fast, especially when you live somewhere that freezes solid for 6 months of the year, every year, or whatever it is, 4 months or 5 months, whatever that window is. I'd say from sometime in December until early April.
Right.
The ground is frozen.
Yeah.
So here we've got a heat problem, so you need mulches that really, really attract heat and seem to get going. You know, when the sun's on them, they start cooking and start working.
Right.
And I find hay and seaweed seem to be more likely to do that.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, there you have it.
Yes.
Episode 48.